bring in David Dunn. He's a professor of international politics at the University of Birmingham. Thank you, Professor, for being with us on the program. Now, the White House has described this meeting as a listening exercise for Trump to better grasp what's needed to end this war. What are your expectations from this meeting?
Well, the language from the White House is welcome, and in a sense, it indicates just how much concern has been expressed to Washington over this meeting, which is a huge concession to Putin to actually meet them on equal terms, to host him in the United States, and to meet him ahead of there being any ceasefire actually agreed, which was one of Donald Trump's initial things. So the concern over the meeting is that Trump is so eager to get some sort of agreement in order to further his wish for the Nobel Peace Prize that actually he makes concessions to Putin, and as a consequence of that agrees to an outline agreement and then pressures Ukraine to take that, even though that's not in Ukraine's interest and not in the interest of European security more broadly. So they're the broad concerns about this, because Trump has not got a good record in meetings and summits, especially with Vladimir Putin. If you remember the famous Helsinki summit, where he actually agreed with Putin rather than his own intelligence agencies. And of course, we also saw him having huge expectations with summits with Kim Jong-un for that to actually result in nothing of any substance at all. But even there, he was making concessions about ending what he called war games, military exercises, adopting the language of Kim Jong-un. So Trump, despite there's these huge brags about what a wonderful negotiator he is, actually hasn't got that track record in international engagements, especially with the Russians, and therefore there's a huge fear about what this summit results in.
Yeah, and I mean, time and time again, Zelensky has voiced his concern of not being part of the discussions, adding that security guarantees for Ukraine are of great importance. Is he being sidelined again? How vulnerable of a position is he in right now?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. The fact that Trump agreed to meet bilaterally with Russia is a huge concession to Russia and allows them to actually dictate the agenda. It allows the voice of Ukraine and indeed of the Europeans and their concerns about European security more broadly to be drowned out. You can imagine that the agenda will be set by the Russians. They'll come much more prepared for this than Trump do, who famously doesn't read things and doesn't really prepare and goes on his instinct, an instinct that doesn't work very well, as we've seen. So there's huge concerns that the Ukrainians have been essentially structurally blocked out of the negotiations, and the fears are that their wider concerns about the long-term security of Ukraine and long-term security of the whole European continent are not factors that are foremost in Trump's mind, because all he seems to be interested in is stopping the killing. Well, actually, the killing could have stopped 3 years ago if the Ukrainians had agreed to subjugation. It's not just about stopping the killing, it's about actually stopping the subjugation of Ukraine, the invasion and annihilation of one nation by another. And that's the concern that many people have, that only having a narrow view of what's required here is what Trump will be about. And as a consequence, the interests of Ukraine will be sold out.
Okay, Professor David Dunn, thank you so much for being with us here on the NewsHour. It's always great listening to you.